Just absolutely sensational what Kim Caldwell and the Lady Vols were able to do tonight against Uconn. I'm sure they're walking across the court right now. We see Samara Spencer on the court with fans still hanging out after the game, and Kim Caldwell even signing young Lady Vol fans shirts after the game as well. And that just tells you, like, one, how much this game is growing, that there's young fans here, and then the way that they give back. And it came after they celebrated in the locker room, deservingly so, snapping a 4-game losing streak to Uconn, an 80-76 win here at home, ending in a Gatorade shower in the locker room. Coach Kim Caldwell's bun goes from the middle of her head to the top of her head, and she says it was not cups of water, it was bottles of water, and she says, I just had to surrender. And what she did in that surrendering was just allowing the team to celebrate this epic win that they were able to get over their historic rival. And it is interesting because only Pat Summitt, she's the only other Lady Vols coach to be able to get a win in this rivalry. Elite company for Coach Kim Caldwell. And I asked the player specifically after the game, how impressive is it that she was able to do this in her debut season, joining again that elite company? And Kim interrupted it. And she said, this is not about me. She's like, I didn't put up a bucket. I didn't get a board. I wasn't on the court at all. I am more happy for them than I am for myself. And that just tells you everything that you need to know about this team. But when we look at this game and how they were able to get it done, Zee Spearman came alive in the fourth quarter. 4 points in just 8 minutes of play. Kim talked about how this game just meant something more to Zee Spearman, and you could see that in the way that she played, whether it's guarding the inbounds pass, whether it's going up there, getting the block, getting the rebounds. She was everywhere on the court, and you could just see that look in her eyes that it really did mean something more to her. And if not for her effort late in this game, who knows where this game would have gone. And that's a lot of what Kim Caldwell talked about in this game as well, and that leads me to my 2 other points. Talking about communication, real quickly, one more on Zee Spearman. So much leading into this week was better IQ plays, more communication on offense. 2 crucial buckets from Zee Spearman came from communication. It was when Jewel Spear had the ball in front of her, and you hear Zee Spearman from the wing saying, I'm behind your back, I've got your back. And what does Jewel Spear do? She turns around, dishes it to Zee Spearman, and she sinks her only 3-pointer of the fourth quarter. The play after that, she drives baseline to the rim instead of just hanging out in the middle of the field. And it's because she maybe heard her coaches, or at least heard the coaches telling her to drive, drive, drive. She did that, and they converted. There was so much better flow in this offense, and that led to such a great, efficient night for the Lady Vols. The 2 things that really probably sealed the win for them: rebounding, capitalizing on turnovers. They didn't necessarily win the turnover battle. Uconn got 24 points off of turnovers that they forced. Lady Vols got 19. But on the 12 turnovers that they forced against Uconn, we talked about it in the keys to the game. Against Missouri, it was 1.2 points per turnover. It needed to be a lot closer to 2 against Uconn, as they only turned it over about 10.2 times per game. They got that. 19 points, 12 turnovers. They got a little bit closer to that 1.5-ish mark. Their ability to do that, force Uconn to turn it over more than they do on average, was a huge part in this game. But dominating on the board absolutely sealed this win for Tennessee. Uconn was not making the shots that they typically make, especially from Paige Beckers. Tennessee's ability to be in the right spot and even get those out-of-area rebounds was the biggest takeaway from this game. If you walk away from this game and you remember one thing, it's Tennessee capitalizing on the rebounding. They were so aggressive on the defensive end. The margin was about 12 in the total rebounding. If not for that, even Kim Caldwell highlighted it, that they would not have won this game. And when she was asked about, what Pat Summitt would think about this game, she says, Pat would be probably really happy with the effort and with the rebounding. And she very sentimentally said, she's probably up in heaven with her dad, cracking open a cold one and having a drink together. And I just think that was really special to hear the way that they said that, especially after Kim just had her son, Connor, who they named after her late dad, Scott. The Scott is the middle name, and just how much, these few weeks have meant to her coming back so quickly, having the Pat Summitt Trophy, winning that a couple of years ago, being the only other coach to get a win here against Uconn. Just such a special win. And seeing them celebrate with LVFLs on the court after, I have that on my Twitter page at PageDower FDP. Definitely check that out. Such a great moment with all of them here, and just how much that this meant to them. Jordan Horton was here, Tamari Key was here, and even Alexis Hornbuckle was here, who I also talked to, as she was, until tonight, the last class to defeat Uconn. A three-game win streak before the series went dormant for 13 years, but absolutely impressive what they were able to do tonight. Finally getting a top 10 win, a win over number 5 Uconn, and they did so convincingly. We'll have so much more coming up on this, especially on Friday when I sit down with VFL Chris Brown to talk good, bad, and ugly, and it's going to be a lot of good on the Lady Vols. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.